This video is most likely being released on November 2nd or November 3rd, but today is Friday, October 30th, which means this weekend would have been the weekend that I was going to be running the 2020 New York City Marathon. I was thrilled to be running my first New York City Marathon, but obviously that is no longer happening. So instead, I will be running my own virtual New York City Marathon and decided to put together a quick video on how I plan that out, kind of the new unique race that I put together for myself, as well as reviewing some of the gear that I'm going to be using for the race. Cheers, beer runners. I mentioned that I put together sort of a unique virtual race experience for myself to replace the New York City Marathon that I should be running this weekend. Typically for a virtual race, a lot of times you're running the race solo, you're out on your own, hence the virtual race. You're not racing with other people. I've done a bunch of virtual races. I enjoy virtual races. I have nothing against them, but this was New York City, the experience of running with so many people from all around the world. Obviously, you can't replicate that in a virtual setting, but I wanted to do something different than just the typical virtual race. So what I decided to do this year, since I was running the race for charity, one of the things that I really enjoyed about that was how many people were cheering me on, how many people were invested in me running this race. And so I wanted to include some of those people in this virtual race experience as well. So what I put together was sort of a race course that I'll be running where along the way, different friends of mine can jump on course with me to log some miles with me. So although I'll be running the race virtually, I will not be running the race alone. I will be joined by plenty of friends and sharing some miles with loved ones, which I think is a great way to get out there, stay active, but also reconnect with some people that I haven't seen in a while. And like I said, just be able to celebrate this race with the people who have been supporting me along this journey. As far as planning for the race itself is concerned, I'm gonna go over some of just the base level logistics if you're interested in putting together something similar for yourself. If you're not interested in that and just want to skip to the gear portion, what I'm actually bringing with me to complete this challenge, you can skip ahead. I'll put the timestamp down below for where you can skip to just get to the gear review. But in terms of putting this race together, one of the challenging things is obviously a marathon is a very long race. And since I'm going to be running with other people of vastly different paces than what I'm used to, I really have no idea how long this race is going to take. So what I had to do was build a course that will allow people to join me whenever is convenient for them without really knowing what time that will be or when I'll be passing by where their station is. So luckily, being in New York, I'm gonna go into Manhattan for the race itself. I'm gonna run around Central Park. And the nice thing about Central Park is there are a ton of different loops that you can run around the park. And there are a few strategic locations that you can choose where a bunch of the loops intersect. So whatever distance you need to go or whatever distance some of the friends I wanna run with are interested in running, we can run those different distances all starting and finishing at the same spot. So if you're interested in putting on something like this, what I would highly recommend is looking for a location, whether it's in a neighborhood, local park, and have one home base where you can come back to and where everyone can meet you to start their legs. But from home base, you should be able to take on various different distances depending on what you need. What I did was basically broke the race into 4 hours and I assigned each friend a 1 hour block. So what that allows me to do is, let's say your block is the first block, that's gonna be from 9 to 10. I'll get there, I'll start running. You can shoot me a text, hey, I'm gonna be here about this time. Let's say it's 30 minutes. I can do a quick 3-4 mile loop. And by the time I get back, you're there and then we can go out on our run. And so on and so forth. The nice thing again being that I can kind of do whatever distance, whatever loop distance I need to eat up time while I wait for different runners to join me on the course. So that's kind of how logistically this is put together. And aid station wise, I'm planning on carrying pretty much everything I need with me, which I'll go over in the gear portion. But it'll be nice just to have, again, a logistics home base where if I need to check in, I need to coordinate with any of the people running with me, I have someone else worrying about all of those technical details so I can just focus on the running itself and just enjoy the race. So that's really the planning that went into it. I'm gonna be putting together a full video recap of the race if you're interested in seeing how it went, but really what I wanted to focus on was spending one-on-one time with each friend. So when I'm going out on a run with one person, it's just with that single person so that we can enjoy 4 or 5 miles together. And just get to talk, just enjoy each other. I think that's one of the benefits of running with someone is you're separated from everything. You can't really look at a device. There's not a lot of distractions. It's just the two of you running and seeing where the conversation takes you. So I'm really excited to kind of share those miles with those friends coming up tomorrow morning. That's the basic concept of how I put the course and the schedule for my race together. If you have specific questions, let me know in the comments, or you can always feel free to email me. I'm happy to talk all things virtual race logistics. I've been having a lot of fun trying to, when I do run a virtual race, make it unique, make it fun in my own way. And so figuring out different planning strategies that I can use to do that. This is definitely the most technical, most complex plan that I've put together. So really looking forward to putting it to the test. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the gear. In terms of clothes, it's gonna be pretty standard. The one difference being it is starting to cool off, and I haven't necessarily acclimated totally to the cold. It's gonna be below 40, I think, when I'm getting started. Warm up a little bit, but not much. Luckily, it's gonna be sunny, so I should be pretty comfortable throughout the day, but it's definitely gonna be relatively chilly in the morning. So I have kind of some options that are just gonna be game time decisions depending on how cold I'm feeling when I'm getting started. But we'll start from the bottom, work my way up. So as terms of shoes, you may have seen my review of my new favorite pair of shoes, my Saucony Kinvaras. These are what are gonna come with me. This is gonna be a big test for them. I have not taken them on a run nearly this long, so looking forward to putting them to the test on the marathon. But what I really like about them is that they are just extremely comfortable and extremely lightweight. So I think they are just gonna feel great on my feet throughout the duration of the marathon, and the lightweight will hopefully help a little bit with that fatigue that I'm used to feeling towards the end of the race. In addition to the shoes, just a pair of Injiji toe socks. A lot of people actually ask me for sock recommendations. These are by far my favorite socks. They help a lot with blister prevention. I know not all people enjoy toe socks. They can feel a little bit weird, but once you get used to them, I swear by them now. So especially for distance races, always going with the toe socks. Now here's where we get into a little bit of the variability. In terms of bottoms, definitely gonna be rocking Brooks Sherpa shorts. I've also talked about these in past videos. These are my favorite shorts by far to run in. Again, extremely comfortable, extremely lightweight, breathable. They just fit really well, but they also have a ton of pockets, so always great for the run. Comfortable and incredibly convenient, so I'm definitely gonna be having the shorts, and then the game time decision is gonna be, depending on how cold it is, I do have just some skins tights. What I like about these tights in particular is I've run races in these where it's gotten up to like 80 plus degrees and been okay. They are very good at keeping you warm when it's cold outside, but also keeping you cool when it's warm outside. So even if it is a little bit warm and I'm on the fence, I'll probably opt to wear these just to be on the safe side. Because the compression again helps with that muscle fatigue later on in the race, but also just in case the temperature does dip, I know that I'll be nice and warm in the extra layer of tights. Moving up to tops, obviously gotta rock the Bib Brave long sleeve, so I will be wearing that for sure for the race. Just a standard long sleeve shirt. So again, that's what I will most likely be wearing for the bulk of the race. But then the game time decision for top is gonna be, I have this Brooks long sleeve jacket. I don't know the actual name of this product or if they make it anymore, but you may recognize it as the jacket that Des Linden won the Boston Marathon in. It is a fantastic jacket. Obviously, if it was good enough for her to win that race in pretty horrible conditions, it's good enough for me. Again, incredibly breathable, lightweight, very comfortable. A couple nice things about this jacket in particular, it folds up into a ball, rolls itself into one of its pockets that has a strap to put around your hand. So if I do warm up on one of my loops, need to take it off, I can always take it up, ball it up, and just kind of hold it in my hand comfortably until I get back to home base where I can ditch it. But very lightweight, breathable, so even if I'm on the fence, this can kind of be that middle ground to keep me nice and warm in the beginning, and then I'll likely shed layers later on. And then moving up to the head, obviously just standard running baseball cap, Boko running, classic running hat gear, just very comfortable, simple, not a lot to say about it. Just a great running hat. I'm gonna be bringing a full buff for dual purposes. One, if it's cold out, to use it to cover my ears, again, early on, just while I acclimate and warm up and get started. But then also if I need a mask or anything in the moment, just something that I can quickly pull up over my face if I need it, especially since I'll be running in a more populated area, definitely just gonna come in handy. Now I wanna talk a little bit about some of the gear that I'm bringing with me as well. So gonna bring the aftershocks. I don't anticipate using these a ton, especially not when I'm running with friends. That's gonna be all about the conversation. But on the for the loops that I'm gonna be running solo, this will come in handy just to put on some podcasts or maybe some songs, just to help kill the time, pass the time while I'm finishing out the marathon. Next up, we've got two of the most important additions to my running kit. Those are the nipple band-aids. Cannot run long distance races without nipple band-aids. Gonna be rocking those tomorrow as well. Then probably the biggest gear consideration for a virtual race is bringing a pack with me. This I went back and forth on a lot because, like I said, I'm gonna have a home base, so I'll have somewhere where I can pick up and drop off materials as needed. But again, you have to think of the logistics. And my wife is gonna be joining me with for some of the loops that I'm gonna be running. So if we're both going out for a run, who's gonna stay behind to look after our gear, etc. So I figured it would just be easy to carry everything I need with me while I'm running. You may have seen my review of this in the past. This is by far my favorite running pack. It's the Orange Mud Gear Vest. It's kind of like a hybrid vest. Hybrid between a running vest and a running pack. It's very, very lightweight and minimal. It's not a full running pack with all of the space that you need for the longer distance races, but this did get me through my 100K. It's got enough space for a marathon. I will easily be able to pack the gear that I need in here for the race, but it can hold a lot more than you'd expect. It comes with a flask that sits in the back, or a bladder that sits in the back. I decided to just get some flasks that I prefer. I'm gonna fill these with, one is just gonna be standard water, and then the other one, I'll throw some Noon Sport in there just for electrolytes along the way. I just personally prefer the feel of the vest with a water bottle on each side as opposed to the bladder in the back. Plus that frees up the pouch in the back for any gear or anything like that that I need. So I'll be running with these two water bottles or flasks in the pouch. Other things that are going in the bag, I got the Honey Stinger gels, perfect gel for me. I personally just love the consistency and the sweetness of honey, so these are my standard for any kind of long distance races when I'm gonna need gels. And the nice thing about the vest is it has these little snack pockets up at the top that you can slide the gels in. So I'll throw a few of those in there, and that's everything that's gonna go in the backpack. Then if I do need to shed layers or anything like that, I can always stuff it in the backpack and then ditch it once I get back to home base. But this will just make it a lot easier to deal with some of the stuff that I need to bring with me without having to worry about where to store it if I'm not using it while I'm running. Everything will just be carried on my back, simplifying the process a little bit. And I guess that just leaves the Body Glide. Obviously, again, a necessity, nothing sexy about it, but you need it, so I'm gonna bring it with me. Goes in the same line as the nipple Band-Aids. Better safe than sorry. Prevent the risk ahead of time so you don't have to worry about chafing on the run. So definitely bringing the Body Glide. And then last but not least, gotta bring the Hemp Daddy's CBD oil as well. I'll probably definitely taking some of this tonight to help me get to sleep, maybe some in the morning, or definitely some in the morning before the race, and then probably a little bit after as well, just to help mitigate some of that inflammation that I'm going to be expecting post-race. And that should cover all of the gear that I'm gonna be bringing with me for the virtual New York City Marathon. It is weird being in charge of planning all of the logistics for your own race, especially involving other people. I feel like this was a lot more stressful than any of the other virtual runs, partially because of the distance, running a virtual marathon, but then also having to worry about the logistics and planning and organizing of different people who are involved as well. But I think I got all the bases covered. Ultimately, I'm just really excited for the experience. All the friends that are running with me, I sent them kind of like a race packet for what to expect and all the planning that went into it. And the number one rule I said is, this is not about running the race. I mean, the race is gonna be fun, sure, but this is really just about getting to share some miles with some close friends. So I am just really looking forward to the experience. I think it should be a cool way to celebrate the New York City Marathon, even though I can't be running in person. I know running virtual races can seem tough. It can be more difficult to motivate yourself to run a virtual race. So I'd love just in the comments below, if you wanna let me know, what are your thoughts on virtual races? Have you tried them? Did you enjoy it? Have you not tried them? Are you avoiding them? What are you doing to keep yourself motivated? I think those are the questions that we're all asking ourselves right now, especially as we wait to see what the future of racing is gonna look like. But we're doing what we can now, and I think this will hopefully be a creative way to try something new, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. So thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the full race recap coming later this week. Cheers.